I'm Tom Bassel. Welcome to Week in Review. This is where we take a look at all the reviews we did over the past week and tell you a bit about them. And if you want to know more about those reviews, then all you have to do is check the full links in the description below. All right, are you ready? Z, let's get started.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Here's what I reviewed last week. I reviewed a two-player abstract game called Squadro. I rate this a 6 out of 10. It's very pretty, but there are so many better abstract games out there, and this one just does not have the replayability to really keep it in rotation. The concept is kind of clever, if a little obtuse, but overall, I find this one to be a nice one-time play, and then sort of it becomes forgettable rather quickly, unfortunately. I reviewed Return to the Night of the Zella. This is an expansion to Arkham Horror, the card game. I rate this a 7 out of 10. I know that sounds like a good score, but it's actually the lowest rating I've given pretty much anything in Arkham Horror, the card game. And that's because this is a strange product. It's a modification to the original scenario in the base game, and it's a storage box. You sort of get those two things in one. If you're someone who doesn't care about the storage box, this isn't worth it. If you're someone who doesn't revisit scenarios very often, this isn't worth it. So I would say, yeah, get it. There's technically nothing wrong with it, and I'm happy to have it. I'll never play that original scenario without it, probably. But I would say this is probably the last thing you get for Arkham Horror, the card game. If you have everything else, yes, get it. If not, literally any other product will give you new cards and new story, so go with that. All right, I reviewed Everdell. Everdell is a worker placement and tableau building game, gathering resources, spending them to build cards in front of you. I rate this a 7.5 out of 10. I like the look of it a lot for the most part, and the artwork in it is incredibly cool. But I have a couple of issues with the usability of the game. The tree that you build up looks fantastic in photographs, but if you're playing with a full complement of players, it's going to get in someone's way, and they won't be able to easily see the board. The card text is on the small side, and it's not so bad that while you are holding the card, it's a problem, but there are 8 cards on the table that are technically in your hand that you could technically build. And there's going to be a lot of reaching over and reading the cards and putting it back and dealing with that. So that's a little bit of an issue as well. And then lastly, the rule book. It's just, it's not as clear as I would want it to be. There are some issues in the rule book. One specifically glaring issue I had with turn order and things like that. So that's my main reason that it gets a ding. I reviewed Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters Creepy Cellar expansion. Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters is a co-op game, basically for kids. But Creepy Cellar really kicks up the difficulty. It gives you tons of new ghosts. It gives you new things to deal with, new difficulties. And I said it's a kid's game, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that. I really enjoy this game, and I play it consistently. So Creepy Cellar is a fantastic expansion for it. Lastly, I reviewed the Shipwreck Arcana. This is also a co-op game, but it's a very interesting one. I rate this an 8 out of 10, and it is a co-op deduction game, which is a clever idea, not something very common. And I love the tension in this game, this idea of feeling clever as you are playing. I love watching new players as it slowly dawns on them what's at hand here, what's going on, and the things they can deduce from limited information given. Really enjoy it. Few components, but a lot done with them. Shipwreck Arcana, neat stuff. And that's it for me. I will see you all on the next one.
Hey folks, welcome back to another week in review. Did 3 reviews, a what's in their video, and a live stream this week for you. The 3 reviews were, first of all, Samurai Jack Back to the Past. And this is a game where each of the players are actually helping their helpers for Samurai Jack. Nobody actually gets to play Samurai Jack. And they're trying to help him through his journeys to survive, defeat the bad guys, defeat Aku, and thereby winning the game. But there's a lot of different things, a lot of pitfalls that can happen along the journey during the course of the game. And it's basically a set collection game because you have to collect different sets of support cards in order to defeat the villains at the end of each of the journeys. 3 of them, to be exact. I wasn't really too enamored with the game. I gave it a 5 out of 10, but I think maybe I'm a little bit jaded on it because I was never really invested in the theme to begin with, but I don't know. Check out the review, see what you think. I also did a review for a game called Snow Time. Now this one I did not like at first. This one grew on me, and but it's still a really basic game. Not bad, but it's basically where each player is going to take on the role of a representative from their village to go collect fruit from this mysterious tree in the middle of the land, wherever it might be, an island or something like that. But the fruit doesn't start showing up until snow starts falling on the ground, and so that's why it's called snow time. You all go here and you fight over the fruit, and it's not sinister or anything like that. It's a snowball fight. But anyway, you do that, and you're just trying to score the most points, and it's a race to get to the end of the point track. And you score points by snowball fighting, by collecting fruit, and by collecting mana at the roots of the tree. So basically, go check that out. It has a great artwork, a little creepy at first, but don't let that off-put you because it's really just kids with masks on. But anyway, go check that out. Also did another review for Carthage. Now this one is a deck building arena combat game, gladiatorial arena combat game, and that's what really kind of drew me in. I like, first of all, deck building, kind of, as a mechanism. I like the arena combat idea. So it has variable player powers because each warrior starts with a different set of equipment cards that he can use and reuse throughout the course of the game. So it's got a lot of good things going for it. Gave this one a 6 out of 10 because I enjoyed it, but it has player elimination, and that really took a hard hit that way. Now, there's solo and cooperative modes that you can play in the game, but it just didn't sit well with me. Those solo and I don't play solo games, and the co-op mode really didn't grab me that much either. So there's that. Please give it a try, though, because you might like it, whereas I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. So I gave it a 6 out of 10. Also did a What's in There video for DC Spyfall, coming out from Cryptozoic and Hobby World. And so you get to see all of the different stuff in there. I don't show you every location, but I do show you a good number of them so that you can get an idea for the kind of stuff that you can get in there. And I show you all the different modes of play in there as well. So next week I'll be doing a review, or rather this week, I'll be doing a review of DC Spyfall if you've never played the game before, using that. So there's that. And then Vernon and I also did a live painting session for our Song of Ice and Fire box that we're painting. So you can check that out as well. It's a live session, so we answered some questions as well. So should be pretty fun. That's about it from me. See you on the flip side.
And finally from me. So first we'll start with Gearworks. Gearworks is a game in which you're placing cards into a grid, trying to control rows and columns. I felt like the placement was too restrictive considering how random the game ends up being. It's a nicely produced game, but in the end just felt like a random, boring game. The Ninth World. This is based on Numenera. Numenera is a game in which Numenera is a universe set in the future, RPG-ish. This is called a skill building game where you're going to get skills and play them to win cards. It's okay. It's not like... It's a little longer maybe than it needs to be, and it's a little repetitive, and it doesn't build up as much as it should, but beautiful artwork, and there are some interesting decisions over the course of the game. Trailmazer. This is a little abstract strategy game. Doesn't look like much from Mattel, where you're putting on discs and just trying to connect from one side of the board to the other. You roll the discs on, which sounds cooler than it actually is. You could just be placing them on, but there's some good ideas in this one. Pling Plong. This is, well... ping pong. Well, actually, you know what this is, really? This is like beer pong without the connotations of beer. You just have a bunch of these really good quality plastic cups and you're trying to bounce balls into them to remove them from your opponent's side. Really solid game that works for families. I also took a look at the Warhammer 40,000 Dice Masters game, which I really like, except for the fact that they don't give you as many dice as they should. But it adds range, it adds frag, some new special abilities, and you start with the Ultramarines against some evil Chaos army. And yeah, so if you want to jump into Dice Masters, this is a good starting on point. Carthago, this is a lighter yet heavier, I don't know what to call this game. It's a card game, but a fairly intensive one. There's cards all over the table where you're shipping goods or trying to get guild seats. There's a lot of things. You're going to be using cards as actions. A lot to like about this game. The Hear Me's. This is a game in which you are listening. It's for kids. It's a listening skill game where you're going to be scratching on a board. Everyone else is listening to you scratch on a board, trying to figure out what shape you're drawing. Some interesting ideas that I don't think I've seen a game like it. I also took a look at Warhammer Champions. This is the collectible card game based on regular Warhammer, not Warhammer 40,000. And I don't like the graphic design of the game, but I do like the gameplay itself. It's based on Lightseekers, but has 4 rows, and there's some nice back and forth and rotating of cards and getting treasure. Some cool aspects to it. I took a look at the Warhammer 40,000 expansions for Dice Masters, the armies for them. And then I took a look at Yellow and Yangtze. This is a sequel or 2.0 version of Tigers and Euphrates. In fact, I also compared the two in another video. But this one here is very unique from Dr. Reiner Knizia as you're placing different leaders out, then fighting over pagodas and fighting over different kingdoms. It's very much in your face. I don't know what I would categorize this game as. It's a tile-laying game. But I mean, other than that, is it a war game? Is it a Euro game? It's somewhere in the middle of all this stuff. Some excellent and great design, of sure. Production values too. And finally, I took a look at The Edge. A gigantic game full of miniatures, but the game itself feels smaller than that. It's a nice, light little tactical game that can also be played as a campaign. Really great miniatures, a ton of stuff in the box, but also easy to jump into and play, one that I enjoyed. Besides my reviews, I also took a look at my top 10 great games with boring, ugly covers. Me, Z, and Dave Luza. This is way back from when we were at UK Games Expo earlier this year. We finally got the video for our top 10 games that we love, but we suck at. And, you know, we put up a couple other different videos and things this week, so definitely check those out. Hey, folks, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out Board Game Breakfast. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower.